Alright guys, so today we're going to be working on my 95 Ford Ranger. We're actually going to be removing the fender so that I can then attempt to put fender mirrors on it. I've referenced a few videos, I found some really shitty ones, but I believe the first thing we're going to do is we are going to be removing the grill here. This whole unit can be removed just by simply undoing the top screws. There is a screw here as well. So I believe what we need to do is get behind the blinker here. So I'm going to do my best to get behind that and record as I go. Alright, so I've got the grill off. All you have to do is take those top set of Phillips screws out all the way along. You can leave the very last one in since I'm not doing that fender side yet. Once you remove those screws, the grill pretty much pulls straight forward and out. Next thing you're going to want to do is there's a nut here on top of the blinker housing right here. Wasn't a 12 or a 10, so I'm assuming it's 11. I didn't have an 11 wrench, so I just had to use a crescent wrench, super ghetto style. So once you do that, that is the only bolt actually holding it in. It has some other press pins, but you don't have to worry about those. Don't worry about disconnecting this plug yet. Once you actually pull the blinker housing or the actual blinker lens out, see if I can do this one-handed. Once you get the housing out, you will then see on the actual connector for the blinker here, there is two side tabs, one on the top, one on the bottom. I broke mine both, so mine literally just pulls out. But there is a tab that need to be lifted on the top and bottom. Then you have that out. So now that that's out of the way, you will have two more Phillips screws that will pull off this chrome trim piece here. And then from there, we will actually start going through the bolts to removing the fender. All right, well, I was hoping I wasn't gonna have to remove the bumper on the front, but I do see a bolt down there that looks like it's holding the fender. I'm gonna try and undo it without removing the bumper and see if it will allow me to remove the fender. So let's hope that happens. All right, so here on Ratchet Garage, I think I'm gonna have to start calling it that because it's getting ridiculous. These fender nuts here are going to be 8mm. So I have an 8mm hand driver, a baby crescent wrench, and a socket wrench. The reason I have a socket wrench with the wrong size socket is because that actually fits in there to break them loose. So find a baby 8mm socket if you have one. It's probably gonna be a lot easier than what I'm about to do. All right, so slowly working my way around the fenders. On the inside of the fender wells here, there are going to be little nuts like so. On mine I have three. Looks like just four. Three. And those are now that I've thrown the light down, 7 to 30 seconds socket. Alright, after crawling under the cab just behind one of the front wheels, I have this plastic cover here. Some of you may have fenders that are located here as well, but there is a plastic pop. I don't think they're called pop rivets, but a plastic press and nut, whatever they're called, and another 7/32 nut down here. If you look in here, mine has collected a lot of dirt, but under here there actually is another nut. And that should be another 8mm holding the fender on. And that should be it for about the exterior. Then we're going to go inside the door panel. Alright, now that I've finally gotten that nut out of the bottom of the fender behind the front wheel, we move up into the cab. I see one more there. And I don't see any others, so I'm hoping that's the last one. And then this fender should fall off. Alright, so this is how I went about getting that nut holding those two panels together loose. Another thing to note is under here, this plastic guard going on, I did have to separate two of them before that fender will detach. So those two need to come out and get a socket extension all the way up in there, and that should come off. Alright, so that last little nut up there was the trick. And the fender is off.